Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here today for this outreach session on small business wholesale opportunities. I'm your host, Amy Benson with Unibuy Rodamco Westville. So in partnership with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, URW is pleased to work with the new Terminal 1, the new ground-up international terminal being built as the global gateway to the New York metropolitan area. URW is the commercial program manager responsible for the redevelopment of the concessions program for JFK International Airport at the new Terminal 1. So as part of these developments, URW is looking to partner with local, women, and minority-owned businesses for concessions, merchandising, retail, and dining opportunities. We are delighted you've chosen to join us for this outreach session as we look to create economic opportunities for the community and build programs that showcase New York's world-renowned shopping and culinary scene. So, next slide. Why are we here today? So, today's session will introduce you to the NTO project team and provide an update. You're going to learn more about wholesale product merchandising opportunities in airports for brands and food, and gain knowledge on the types of products that are a fit for airport operations. The goal of this session is to determine what's a good fit for your business plan and aspirations, and if our upcoming in-person event in January, focused on local product makers for wholesale opportunities, is right for you. Finally, we will close our session with Q&A. And you will learn how you can get in touch with resources on our team that can support your success. So, a few housekeeping points as we start today's program. This session is being recorded and it will be posted on our website for replay, along with the presentation. We will open the floor to questions later in the program, so if you ever have a question at any time during the presentation, you can add a question in the Q&A tab in the engagement panel on the right. Mobile users, you can access Q&A using the Q&A button below the live stream video feed. We will answer submitted questions at the end of this program. And by registering for today's event, you are now on URW's diverse supplier list and will receive project updates. So let's meet our speakers today. As I mentioned before, my name is Amy Benson, and I'm the VP of Marketing for URW. And I also am the executive sponsor of URW's Advanced Network, which is focused on growing small, local, minority, and women-owned diverse business opportunities across our portfolio. As well, please welcome Alex Solomon, Director of Leasing with URW. Alex is responsible for leasing the new Terminal 1. And from the new Terminal 1, please welcome Frank Mendoza, their Diversity Outreach Manager. So, next slide. To kick off our program, I'd like to invite up Frank Mendoza with the new Terminal 1, their Diversity Outreach Manager, to give you an update. Please welcome Frank.
Thanks, Amy. Hello, everyone. I'm Frank Mendoza with the new Terminal 1. As Amy said, I'm Diversity Outreach Manager. And I'm pleased to be here to talk about the commercial program and the opportunities that exist for small businesses, our MWBE companies, and local businesses. Next slide. There we go. So as you know, the Terminal 1 is well under construction, almost 2.5 years now. We are rapidly becoming weatherproof-ish, watertight-ish. We're almost there. But as we're nearing the end of the core and shell of the building, this is why we're talking about the interior spaces. So one of the big ones is the commercial program at 300,000 square feet total. That's 160,000 square feet of leasable space. We are an all-international terminal. We will be the premier terminal at JFK, and hopefully, knock on wood, the world. We're looking to gain a Skytrax rating of in the top 5. So we're very pleased to be underway. We will have new gates for wide-body aircrafts. It's a 2.4 million square feet facility, which will be taking the place of where Terminal 2, 3, and almost to 4 sit now, as you can see on the right image there. As soon as we open in June 2026, we will then go live and be decommissioning the existing Terminal 1, which is right next door, and we will tear that down and finish out the complete square footage of the project. So we're happy to be here today to support URW and their efforts to ensure that our terminal not only reaches Skytrax level 5, but engages with the local community for the commercial program. We know there are a lot of you out there, and we hope that you find this information very helpful and useful, and we look forward to hearing from you as we progress in the commercial program and finish out Terminal 1. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank, for that overview on the new Terminal 1. Well, momentum is definitely building at NTO. I'd now like to bring to the stage Alex Solomon, who is URW's Director of Leasing for the new Terminal 1, and you're going to learn a bit more about the airport commercial program. Welcome, Alex.
Thanks, Amy. As Amy mentioned, I'm Director of Leasing for URW, specifically focused on JFK T1. The point of today is to kind of go through what the commercial program looks like from the concession standpoint, and then the opportunities that are within the wholesale to get into the program. Next slide. So again, the general concessions categories that we have here at JFK T1, you'll see that there are 5: duty-free, travel essentials, food and beverage, specialty retail, and service. They're pretty straightforward. The point of today, though, is to understand how you could get your wholesale products within the storefronts that we are bringing into JFK T1. Next slide. So wholesale partnerships, again, this is for all the operators, the brands that have products, CPG products that are prepackaged in food or in dry retail goods. We will then work with you to figure out ways to get you on the shelves of the concessions program here at JFK T1. So, you know, there are many opportunities to be part of this program. We kind of simplified this program of wholesale so you don't have to take on all the burden of taking on a storefront. So you'll see here within duty-free, specialty, F&B, and travel retail, we have plenty of opportunities. Should your brand fit their merchandise, we will then partner you up with those operators to then figure out ways to get your product on the shelves within those storefronts here at JFK T1.
NTO, the new Terminal 1, is not just a terminal, right? It's really a global gateway to opportunities and to the world.
We at Terminal 8, we're here now, we're open, and we're ready for all of you to come on in the door.
Hi, I'm Yasmeli. Ever had a dessert that is both indulgent and convenient?
We're from Plantation, plant-based snacks that taste amazing.
As a small business owner out of Brooklyn, I wanted to make sure I'm equipped before I just take the huge leap in getting into JFK. JFK is my home. It is, oh my God, it screams culture. It is a gateway to so many other people, but I wanted to make sure we were in a sound place so we can scale and be successful.
It is the premier international destination in the United States.
I'm connecting with owners that see this vision, that want to offer a variety of products for their consumers so that they can take along on their journey wherever they go.
It's an incredible opportunity for many small businesses, connecting small businesses with opportunities to do business on airport at Terminal 1 and Terminal 8 at JFK International Airport.
So as you can see by the video, we have had many events on this topic. We've implemented many small business brands into our programs elsewhere, specifically T8 at JFK. We obviously feel very strongly and are very passionate about figuring out ways to get small businesses more more visibility into our programs, whether that's wholesale or taking a traditional storefront. But the next steps in order to further this process would be to get in touch. We have, I guess, next slide is going to talk about an event that we have coming up Yep. In-person event coming up January 22nd. We will still be finalizing these details in the weeks to come, but again, this will be for you to showcase your brand, your products, and to talk with us about what you think your product, where you see your product fitting within the shelves and the four walls of what we have going on here at T1. In the meantime, while we figure out the exact details of our event, you could always get in contact with our partners, RFW Consultants. Reach out to them at info@urw@rfwconsultants.com. They are there to help you understand the next steps in all this, right? They are there to help you understand how to get certified. They're there to help you understand where your product may fit. They're there to help you understand what events we have coming up. So please reach out to them for any and all questions that you have for JFK T1 now and in the future. And I guess I'm going to pass it back to Amy.
Thanks, Alex. So I'm going to invite up Quentin with RFW as well as Alex back to the stage for our Q&A. So Quentin is an expert in airport certifications and can support new businesses who are interested in navigating, business opportunities at airports. So right now we are going to be opening up the floor for questions. As a reminder, if you have a question, you can use the question function to submit your question and we will answer them now. One question that we will have is, will the webinar be available to review offline? And the question is yes. By the end of the week, we will be posting this webinar at urwairports.com. In fact, all of our outreach sessions are posted, and you can go back and review any of our sessions that we've had virtually at urwairports.com. It is a knowledge hub of many outreach sessions. So if you are new to the industry, if you are new to airports, if you are looking to find more information on doing business at airports, we would certainly encourage you to go to urwairports.com. It is a great knowledge library, and you can find many, kind of important virtual library that will help you to kind of understand as well. Quentin is an expert in certifications and can certainly support you in that knowledge. Quentin, if you wouldn't mind, could you tell us a little bit about certifications in airports and just talk a little bit about your role and how you support business opportunities and what you do in airports?
Sure, Amy. So my name is Quentin Bailey. I'm one of the compliance consultants and specialists with RFW, RF Wilkins. What we do is support those businesses that want to be a part of the commercial program at JFK. And we have office hours specifically on Wednesdays, but you can always reach us, as Amy indicated, at the email address. It's info@rfwconsultants.com. And what we do is just help you assess what's needed to participate in some of these opportunities at New Terminal One, and also take a look at where your company profile stands now as far as certification. Very complimentary that Amy would call me an expert, but believe me, I'm just a representative of the great team at the Port Authority, the certification unit there, and the outreach team at the Community Development Center. We have our office hours on Wednesdays. So we're happy to support you through the certification process. The certification that's most important for these airport opportunities and opportunities in the terminal is the ACDBE certification. That's Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification. So you're most familiar with the MWBE certification. Very similar, a few specifics about the certification program. We can certainly talk about that. and making sure that you qualify as a disadvantaged business owner. And we can certainly start that conversation and help you through the process of getting certified.
Thank you so much, Quentin. Alex, could you talk a little bit about the last kind of in-person wholesale event that URW did, and what the team could, or what attendees could expect to experience coming to the January 22nd event that's coming up?
Yep. Every event's a little bit different, but we always try to bring in all the meaningful partners in this potential transaction, right? So we bring in operators that we know are going to have a storefront here at JFK T1, whether it's the duty-free player or the travel essentials or food and beverage. We bring as many operators as possible to then have them have direct visibility and access to you and your brands, so that we could kind of limit the friction between the two, right? We want to give you all the power to meet them directly, to sell your brand, and to make the connections, for now and into the future. So what you could expect is to be in a room with a lot of really great brands. You can meet and network amongst yourselves, but also have a direct line of access to the operators that would be working with you to get your product on their shelves within their storefronts.
That's great, Alex. Thank you so much. Alex, could you talk a little bit about just kind of the timeline for NTO and kind of what's coming up in the next, couple of years, and, what will be happening in terms of kind of the leasing schedule that you see on the horizon?
Yes, sure. So in terms of timing, right now, like Frank mentioned before, the project is broken down into two phases. Phase A, which opens in 2026, the leasing has started. It's well within, we are full steam ahead on the leasing. We are finalizing the leasing of Phase A. And that's just, when I say leasing, these are working with brands and operators to take the storefronts, the square footage in our concessions program, to then open those storefronts. So now that that's kind of solidified on Phase A for the most part, we are now going into the wholesale mode, right? This is where we then go work with you guys to help fill up those storefronts with local businesses, local products, like you guys have. In terms of Phase B, that is still coming down the pipeline. We will probably start to focus on Phase B in Q1 or Q2 of next year. So right now we're still focused on Phase A, which is the first phase opening in July 2026. And that's why we are now focused on the wholesale opportunities within the overall program.
Thank you, Alex. And I did get a question that asked, is it too late to apply for F&B storefronts for the terminal?
No, it's not too late. Nothing's, we still have a while till everything's, 100% concrete. I would say if you have a brand that you'd like to explore to get into the world of airports and JFK T1 specifically, it's not too late. You could definitely reach out to Quentin and the RFW team and explain your brand and what you're looking for, and, we can reach out.
That's great. Well, I don't see a lot more questions coming in. If there are any more questions, we encourage you to send them in right now. If not, we do have one more question. How do we apply for an open storefront? Alex, I'm going to kick that one to you.
There's no formal application for the remaining spaces. What you would have to do is reach out to RFW, explaining your business, what you're looking for, the size that you would want. If you have a website, please share that. And if it makes sense, given the merchandising of the rest of the program, we will reach out. But it doesn't hurt to start that conversation with RFW, because, again, we have Phase B coming down the pipeline. So if it's not now, we have plenty of opportunities later, which again, we will start focusing on, the end of Q1, early Q2 of next year. So it's definitely worth reaching out regardless of if it's now or later, but I would reach out to RFW, introduce yourself, your brand, your website, whatever it might be, to get into our database, and then obviously stay engaged with all the events that we have coming up.
Another question for you, Alex. Is there a specific business profile or sector that would be a right fit for the airport?
To answer that question, I mean, listen, it's all, there's plenty of different brands and sectors that work within an airport. I think when it comes to leasing, you have to kind of do this puzzle where, you're not going to put all the exact same uses in the terminal next to one another, right? Like that wouldn't make sense from a consumer perspective. That's what we do, right? We try to make sure that there's a blend of all the different sectors, all the different businesses, to make sure that the consumer, the traveler, is getting a little bit of everything. So I don't think there's one answer for what works best in an airport. It's about your brand, your product. Does it work for the traveler? Price point. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Alex, also for you, are you going to allow vending in Terminal 1?
Great question. I know automated retail units are always sought after. We are still working with our partners at the NTO to solidify a plan for spaces that work for automated retail units. We do not have that exact yet, but eventually there will be vending. We are just not at that stage in our planning to identify the spaces where vending will be yet in our terminal. But again, I would submit your information to RFW to make sure that you're in that database, so that when we are looking for automated retail units and brands and operators for those automated retail units, you are in that database of potential automated retail unit operators.
Great. What kind of volume should we anticipate if we were selected to be a vendor at the airport? So the question is, like, what is a typical order size for specialty food? How much retail experience is required?
It's hard. It's very hard to answer those questions, right? I guess we'll start with the first one. I think the first one is how much volume to expect, right? I would say you have a captive audience within an airport. In terms of how much volume to expect, that's you and your business would know that better. I think the advantages of being in an airport is you have millions and millions of people coming through here, on a yearly basis, right? So you have a captive audience, but I can't answer for you what volumes there are to expect. Everyone's different. All use cases are different. What was the second part of that question?
What is the typical order size for specialty food?
Again, I can't answer that. Also, yeah. This is a brand new terminal, right? So we don't have any comps to compare what JFK T1 will be. I don't feel comfortable answering that question.
Yeah, and the last part of that question was how much retail experience is typically required?
I mean, listen, we have. I think in terms of operating a business in an airport, you definitely have to have, a little bit of experience. It's not to say that you need 20 plus years. We have local operators that have 20 plus years. We have local operators that have never been in an airport before. And then we have, brands that have never been in an airport before, that are coming into an airport before. I think what you do need to have is a business that is established in some way, shape, or form, that, this is not new to you from a retail perspective, in terms of like business, right? Like you need to kind of be an established business to then bring your business into the world of airports. But I don't think there's like a requirement of how many years you need to be in business. If your business is successful outside the airport, right off, in year one, we'd love to have you here, right? So.
Alex, we have a question about what is the rental rate for a storefront?
Again, it all depends on size. It depends on use. It depends on location within the terminal. There is no black and white answer I could give you. You would have to reach out to RFW. You would have to inquire about space that's available, and then we could talk about what that would look like. But again, in terms of economics in an airport, you're looking at what we call a MAG, which is your baseline rent number, and then typically there's a percentage number, and what that looks like is it's the greater of language in the world of airports. So it's either X percent or whatever that baseline rent number is for that space, and you're paying whatever performs better based off of your sales volume.
Thank you. Another question. Hello, I just connected, wondering how I can apply to place my self-serve coffee shop.
Again, reach out to RFW, email them about your concept and explaining more about yourself and your business, and we can figure out if we have a home for you.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead.
Security, the old fire alarm seems to be going off in our office. Sorry.
Oh, no. Well, Alex is handling that. I'll just add, Amy, that we customarily answer the emails that come into the inbox. We'll set up a time to do an assessment, and all that is just some questions so that we're familiar with your business, your concept, and with some pointed questions that we have with references given to us by the URW team, where we then pass that information on to URW. So as they're looking for specific concepts, they'll be able to connect with you. As Alex mentioned, you'll be in our database. And so further down the road, as these opportunities become available and the certain concepts that the URW team is looking for, we'll have your information right there. And then we'll be able to connect you with the operators that are key to the opportunities at New Terminal 1.
Thanks, Quentin. Well, Alex is on mute because he's got a fire alarm. A question for you, Quentin. I think you can help with this. Can you talk about the application process for product placement? I think you were just alluding to that. So.
Right. So specifically for product placement, I know there's a number of ways that those opportunities are going to become available. And we've seen some of that at Terminal 8. Which Alex mentioned before. We've had some kiosk spaces as a part of the LBE, our local business enterprise program, incubator program. So all of that is in development. The main thing first is to just get connected. Send us an inquiry at info@rfwconsultants.com. We'll do that assessment, get to know your business, add you to our database. And the great thing about that is once you're in our database, just like you saw on the intro film clip that you saw, when we have these live events, you'll have a unique opportunity to talk directly to the operators who are looking to add new products to their product mix. So it's a great way to connect with the URW team and those New Terminal 1 operators.
Thank you, Quentin. Alex, could you talk a bit about the size range of a storefront in Terminal 1? Kind of what is the size of store typically?
I'm going to go off mute, but if you hear stuff in the background, I'm sorry. Typical size range of a space, I mean, you have anywhere from 200 square feet, which is, we don't have many of those, but 200 ranging up to about 1,500 square feet is the size range that we have in terms of retail and F&B in Phase A of JFK T1.
Thank you. And then another question, if awarded storefront space for F&B, are we responsible for designing, purchasing all equipment, and setting up the space?
Typically, yes. Typically, you are, you are responsible for hiring a design firm, construction team. I mean, we have a team in place to hold your hand through that process, but the, the financial, the CapEx of opening up a store would be on the tenant. That's right.
And then Alex, does the leasing plan include kiosks?
We do not have any kiosks currently in the program for Phase A. That's not to say that there won't be any for Phase B. But at this current time, we do not have any kiosk opportunities for Phase A at JFK T1.
Great. And then, Alex, could you talk about the anticipated date for Phase 2? I believe you mentioned it, but could you just mention it again?
Yep. So Phase 2, Phase B, is broken down into kind of 2 dates. You have, so let's start with Phase A. Phase A opens in June, July of 2026. We then have Phase B opening up in a staggered manner between 2028 and 2029. There are an additional 9 gates coming online during Phase B. So 5 gates come online in 2028. And then another 4 gates in 2029. So by the end of 2029, we'll be at full capacity. But the retail and the F&B program will work in the same manner, in that staggered manner. So we'll have some retail and F&B coming online in 2028, and then more coming online in 2029.
Quentin, I'm going to ask you a couple questions now. So first one is ACDBE the only certification needed to work in JFK?
Yes, for the concessions opportunities, yes, there are goals that the team is looking to meet, and so they look for those firms that are already ACDBE certified. So as talked about the timelines, it's a good time to get started in that process. There are certain operations, certain services that are unique to the terminal, and they may require MWBE certification. But if we're talking about concessions, yes, ACDBE, the Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification is the key certification to have.
And a follow-up question, how do you go about getting ACDBE certified? Is there a link that can be shared?
I'm sure I can share the link. We can put it in the chat. If you go to the Port Authority's certification page, where they explain the certification, the various certification programs, you will see ACDBE and DBE listed there. It's PANYNJ, like Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, SD for supplydiversity.com. So that's PANYNJSD.com. And if you get hung up in the process or have some trouble setting up the profile for your company, certainly reach out to us at info.urw@rfwconsultants.com. We can connect you with the JFK redevelopment team. There's a certification specialist who's part of the team at the JFK Info Center in downtown Jamaica, in Queens, very close to the JFK, the air train station in Jamaica. And you can set up some time to just review the process, or if you have any questions as you're going through the application, they're a great resource, we'll assist you as well.
Thanks, Quentin. We had one more question for you, and the question is, do you have a direct phone number that you would be willing to give out?
Not a direct phone number, but we will definitely answer any email that's received within 24 hours. And we're very responsive there. We've got eyes on that all the time. So please reach out to us by the same email address. It's more than just me looking at that inbox. And so we'll definitely connect you to the resource that's best suited to assist you, whether you're getting started or you're already in the process and need some assistance.
Great. Thank you, Quentin. Alex, just a point to clarify. So a question. If I have a beverage that I would like to get into an airport concession, the next phase for that would be to show up to the in-person event, or should I reach out to the URW email first to see whether or not I would be a good fit?
I would do both. I don't think it hurts. I'd reach out to you, RFW, to just make sure that you're in the database. And then I definitely think it makes sense to come to the event. It's not up to us to tell the brands and the operators taking storefronts if your brand makes sense for them, right? We could help and facilitate, but that event will be for you to showcase your brand and your product to those operators and sell it yourself, which no one's going to be able to sell your product better than you. So I would say email just to be in our database to make sure you're up to date on all the events that we're having, and then make sure that you're at that event, which will give you the best, the best chances or to meet all the operators that are taking the storefronts and to sell your brand.
Yeah, you should definitely treat the event as an opportunity to pitch your product to the, businesses, and to take the opportunity to really kind of sell your product to these, big retailers. And, they each have their kind of own way that they would, look at your product and evaluate it to see if it would be a fit for their business. So, and then they each also have their own way that they would kind of bring you into the fold as a potential new wholesale product for their business. So I definitely prepare a 5-minute pitch, and, you would move table to table, and bring product to leave, and, explain, the value proposition of why this is a good fit for, the airport and for that customer.
Agreed. And again, these events are put in place to give you the opportunity to meet everyone in the same room at the same time, right? So I would definitely make sure that you're there at the event, bring product, have your pitch down, and again, like Amy said, go table to table and see if you could, make something work.
We have a question about, it sounds like contractors and designing the space. So is there any contractors required to work with for modeling of the space within the airport? If you could give more details about this process, please.
I would reach out to RFW on that. That is a separate topic. Construction is not something that we, each tenant, each operator that is taking a storefront, they have their own way of going about construction. We help them, obviously, and guide them through our design criteria, but we don't have strict parameters as to who each operator and brand has to use from a construction side of it. So if you send an email, we could connect you to our construction team to answer that question a little bit better.
I would also encourage you that if you have any questions direct for NTO, you can also email info@onejfk.com. That email is info@onejfk.com, and the team at NTO can also support you with any questions. So it looks like we've gone through all of the questions that have been received. I'm just kind of checking, and we've certainly had quite a few. So I really want to thank the audience for their engagement today. So we appreciate the engagement for today's session. And as a reminder, if you registered for this session, you are going to be receiving a link to the recording, and it will also be posted on our website. By registering for today's event, you are now a part of URW's Supplier Diversity Network. So you will be a part of our mailing list, and you're going to be knowing about our upcoming outreach events, our in-person events, and also future business opportunities. As a reminder, we would encourage you to email the info@rfwconsultants.com, who are available to support any and all questions. Quentin and his team are there to support you on your journey, and we want to make sure that you get in the database so that you are aware of the opportunities as they are available. Thank you again to everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you as we create a new JFK.